Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm doing the first service on my 2023 Ford Transit. Now this is the van that we converted into a camper. It has about 4,700 miles, so almost 5,000, which is when I plan to change it anyway. And it says oil change required on the dash. So the factory maintenance minder takes into account time and mileage. So Ford's service interval for these new vans is more like around 10,000 miles. I will be doing the oil changes at 5,000 miles. But right off the rip, I want to talk about something really important with the 2023 and up Transit. And this only applies to the Transits with the 3.5 non-turbo, the PFDI engine, so non-Ecoboost. So they take 12 quarts of oil. So this is very important. All the Transits before this with this exact same engine, and then the prior 3.7 only took 6 quarts of oil. In 2023, Ford made a change to make this vehicle hold 12 quarts of oil, which does make the oil change more expensive, but it is much better for the motor. And since these are used in fleet applications, this was in response to some of the larger fleet applications. The reason this is so important is because when you go to get your oil changed, if you don't do it yourself, or even if you do, a lot of service shops don't realize that these take 12 quarts. In fact, when I got the van and I was reading the owner's manual, which you always should do, I thought it was a misprint when it said 12 quarts, because these Fords have always taken 6. And if you look at the oil pan, it doesn't look any different than one of the prior ones. And here's what makes it even worse. If you go to an oil change place, they drain out the oil. They're not counting how much oil comes out of it. They're just draining it into a container. In your driveway, it matters because you have to have a container that can hold 12 quarts of oil. So when they fill it up, if they only put 6 quarts of oil in and then immediately check the dipstick, it looks like it's full. These modern Ford engines, you have to start them, shut them down, and let them sit for about 15 minutes before you read the oil level to get an accurate reading. This is the first service. I'm going to show you how, I guess, easy it is to do. I recommend just changing oil yourself. That way you can make sure you do this. But there's even some stories of some Ford dealerships with techs that have not put the correct amount of oil in. I always like to check the oil first, see if it's low or not. This dipstick just has 2 circles. Ideally, you'd want it, about right in the middle there. All right, so we're about right in the middle. The oil still looks brand new, but it has been a year, a little over a year since we bought the van. All right, so now I'm just going to remove the oil cap. So it does take 5W30. In the future, I plan on switching over to Pennzoil Platinum Ultra Synthetic. But for this first oil change, I'm going to be using Ford's 5W30 Synthetic Blend. This is what this engine calls for. And since there's a chance that it's still breaking in a little bit, I'm going to use what Ford recommends, and I'll be switching to synthetic. It's fine to switch to synthetic now if you want to, though. This is just personal preference. All right, so I'm under the front of the van here. I've got a 15 mil socket, size of the drain plug. So I'm going to break it loose. I did not lift the van. I am just kind of laying into the front of it. There's just barely enough room. That is a lot of oil. All right, so if you look at the drain plug here, you can see it has this little rubber, basically washer. Just make sure that's in good shape. As long as it's not torn or anything, you can reuse the drain plug. This is probably the longest just constant drain I've ever seen on a vehicle. All right, so once it stops draining, we're gonna hand thread our drain plug in. Okay. All right, so I recommend a quality oil filter wrench, especially this first change oil filter. It's on there pretty tight. So this is a Motive Tools, and it works for the FL500S filter, which is on here. The new and the old style, it's like a dual pattern. So just gonna put that on there. So as soon as I get it kind of loose enough to turn by hand, put my drain in underneath here. FOMOCO oil filter. Make sure you lube up, put a little bit of oil on the gasket on the new filter. Put that nice and hand tight. As you can see, this thing's almost full. That's definitely way more than 6 quarts. Number 2. So after we get our 2 5-quart jugs poured in, we're going to want to put 2 more quarts to make it a total of 12. So we'll just buy a single quart, 5W30. All right, we're going to start it real quick. Make sure we have oil pressure. Alright, now we need to reset the maintenance binder. Vehicle maintenance. Oil life. And we're going to hold it down. Okay. Now, like I said, we'll let it sit for 10-15 minutes and then we'll check the oil level. That's after letting the engine sit for about 15 minutes. Pull it out. I don't know if you can see, it's about right here. So we're about 3/4 of the way up to the second dot. All right, also you want to check your air filter. Make sure it looks okay, which is in here, which I did. Top off all your fluids. You know, make sure your coolant looks okay. Just doing an overall inspection. Make sure we don't have any leaks or other problems. Brake fluid, you know, it looks good, everything's full. Give it the old once over. Again, we're only at 5,000 miles, so not too much really to go wrong. So I was just giving it a look over and topping off all the fluids. All right, so I just want to make this video mainly because of the 12-quart thing. You know, changing oil is not that exciting, but it's really important you don't mess this up. And if you just do a quick Google search for, you know, like 2023 Ford Transit oil capacity, because, you know, you didn't feel like just pulling the owner's manual out, it's probably going to tell you 6 quarts, because like I said, the EcoBoost 3.5s and all the 3.5s before that, took 6 quarts. So really, really important. Don't want to ruin your engine. All right, so I'll have links in the description to like that filter socket I used, or the filter wrench I used, and the oil and everything you need. Be sure to like, subscribe. Till next time, we'll see you later.